Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today is Throat Punch Thursday.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Who's ready?
It's Throat Punch Thursday, bitch.
Oh, gotta love it, gotta love it, gotta love it. Yes, folks, today's the day where, well, we just take on the left, and we just sometimes some people do things that are so stupid that you just gotta punch them right in the throat. So that's what we're gonna do today. Now we are not encouraging violence. It's it's a relative thing. It's a do like a Bernie Mac used to say, punch him in the throat. Just anyway. But we're just talking about having fun and just kind of taking on some of the issues and concerns and things that are out there, and quite frankly, just some of the stupid stuff that we see in modern day politics and culture. So we'll be talking a little bit about that today. Unfortunately, Mike out there in Florida, as much as he likes to make fun of the California energy electrical grid, they got no power out there in Florida, or at least where he's at in Florida. So if he regains power, he will be joining us. But if not, it's just going to be us today. So please do me a favor. Make sure if you're watching us, if you're watching us live, that means you're watching us at 6 p.m. Eastern or at 3 p.m. Pacific, or somewhere there in between. However you are partaking of the program, you can actually go ahead and comment, and I will be following your comments, whether you're watching us through OpsLens, whether you're watching us through Rumble, whether you're watching us through Facebook or YouTube. Now, if you're listening to us via Apple Podcast or iHeartRadio, if you're watching us via Spotify, sorry, but it's delayed. So, unfortunately, you're not going to get to comment. But I guess you could. You could always just go back and comment later. But want to encourage you, please take a moment, go ahead and comment, because I like the conversation. I enjoy the chitty chat back and forth. So go ahead and let me know. What's up. Okay. But before we get into the program today, we're going to go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start off with Hitman Industries. You can find them online at hitmanindustries.net. All you got to do is go there. Go to hitmanindustries.net. If you are looking to do a rebuild, or you're looking to rebuild your current rifle, whether you're looking for pistol or rifle calibers, trust me, they have what you need. And if you are a first-time visitor, you've never purchased from them before, and you're a first responder, well, you're going to get a nice little discount. So check them out at hitmanindustries.net. Then you've got the California Republican Assembly, working to help elect conservatives at all levels of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Want to encourage you, if you live in California and you're wondering who to vote for, go to their website, cragop.org. That's cragop.org. They got their endorsements listed right there. They'll tell you who to vote for, once again, at all levels of government. So check them out today. Then you've got Hog Holsters. Go to hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster today. And then if you are looking for outdoor gear, you're looking for tactical gear, you're looking for cold weather, warm weather, you're looking for tactical gear. I mean, all things tactical but the gun, you just need to go to uscombatgear.com. They're veteran-owned and operated. Great selection, great prices, fast shipping. Check them out today. Once again, uscombatgear.com. All right, now, that's going to get us now into today's first topic. This was one, I have to admit, when I started seeing all the memes, I really just thought it was a joke. I really did. And then, then I actually started to see the stories. And it has to do with Google's new AI, referred to or known as Gemini. What you had was people would go in there, and if you've ever used artificial intelligence, a lot of times you can use it to ask questions, you can use it to answer questions, you can use it to write things, you can use it to create images. And one of the things that folks had tried to do was they tried to go in and have it create images. Well, one of the things they found out about the images that were being created by Google AI was that, it was absolutely refusing to generate images of white people. What? Yeah, exactly. Absurdly woke. This is, by the way, being reported by the folks over at the New York Post. Absurdly woke. Google's AI chatbot spits out diverse images of founding fathers, popes, and Vikings. It says here, Google's highly touted AI chatbot Gemini was blasted as woke after its image generator spit out factually, factually or historically inaccurate pictures, including women as Pope, black Vikings, female NHL players, and diverse versions of America's founding fathers. Gemini's bizarre results came after simple prompts, including one by the Post on Wednesday that asked the software to generate an image of the Pope. Instead of generating a photo of one of the 266 pontiffs throughout history, all of them white men, Gemini provided pictures of a Southeast Asian woman and a black man wearing holy vestments. Another Post query for representative of the founding fathers in 1789 was also far from reality. Gemini responded with images of black and Native American individuals signing what appeared to be a version of the U.S. Constitution, featuring diverse individuals embodying the spirit of the founding fathers. Now, folks, I cannot believe it. So here I'm sharing now some of the images that were generated here, according to the New York Post, and I got to tell you, here's one. This is Frank Fleming when they asked about generating an image of the Pope. Here are some more images here. Check this one out. So here's one. We'll pull up even more. So generate an image of original founding fathers. That's the original founding fathers. This is what it came up with. Generate an image of a Viking. I don't know about you, but none of these look like Vikings to me. Generate an image of a medieval king. Well, you got one medieval king, but the other two don't appear to be medieval kings. Now, you're asking yourself, well, okay, Craig, why is this? Well, keep in mind, now, by the way, just so you know, so what happened was whenever you put in something and you specifically ask for someone European or someone white, it would tell you that to request an image of someone based on their skin color, you know, the specific wording was they're supposed to be, not specific wording, but generally what it would say is, you know, it would be wrong to generate non-diverse images just based on one skin color if you ask for a specific image of white people. But if you ask for a specific image, or Europeans, but if you ask for a specific image of black people or Chinese people or whatever other group of people other than white, it would spit out the images. Now, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, that version, or basically it's been kind of put on hold, or they've taken it offline a little bit in order to try and fix that. But their whole goal is to try and create diversity, right? The problem is that in their quest to create quote unquote diversity, it is actually pushing out factually inaccurate information. No, there were not. Let me clarify. I am not going to sit here and tell you that there were not black Vikings. I don't know if there were any black Vikings. I haven't read anything about any black Vikings. But I can tell you that most of the Vikings were not black. I can tell you that images, for example, like these, that are supposed to be black, they're supposed to be Vikings, once again, didn't ask for black Vikings, didn't ask for Native American Vikings or Asian Vikings, just asked for Vikings. And this is what they got. The point I'm trying to make here is that if they're doing this with images where it is completely obvious, what happens? Because see, these are the folks that are going to be generating AI. They're currently right now generating information that is going into schools across the world, right? And they're going to be providing this sort of misinformation. I say mis because you could say it's not It's not intentional, but the problem is that this AI contains the biases of those who have programmed it. And that's really what it is. When you call it artificial intelligence, it's trying to emulate or mock human intelligence. And as it tries to pretend that, the only way it can pretend it is by putting in samples and information. Well, the information is all coming from the tech industry, which are all a bunch of left-wing liberals. They're all a bunch of DEI, CRT, LGBTQ pushing folks that have a perspective that, well, as you can see, when applied to something, when applied and actually shown in a mirror of intelligence, gives you this. This is what it gives you, is this form of absurdity. This level of absurdity is what actually winds up becoming the output for, once again, this level of communication. It ain't rocket science. So if you really, well, I guess it kind of almost is, but I guess the point I'm making here is that if you really, really, truly want to have some diversity, I mean, if you really want to have it be something that is usable, shall we say, then you probably should turn it into something or make it into something or allow people, you probably should allow people from all different perspectives to be involved in the development of or the input of the information that is going into these sorts of things. Because quite frankly, this ain't working. This clearly is not working. And it's going to create a problem. It's going to create a problem that's going to create a lot of disinformation that is going to basically wind up not being used to educate our children, but being used to miseducate our children or indoctrinate our children. And that's not right. That's something that's definitely going to have to be addressed. All right, moving right along. California blocked from suing gun makers. Now, this is a pretty big deal because a number of different states are starting to pass laws that will allow individuals to sue gun makers, even if they follow every law and there's nothing defective about their product. Now, there's a lot of rumors out there, and a lot of people want to say, well, gun makers are exempt from being sued. That is a lie. For those of you who do not know, it is a lie. Gun makers can be sued. But just like with any other product, right? You cannot be sued if or at least a lawsuit cannot move forward if you either did not create a defective product or you did not break the law. So for example, if someone takes a car out, someone buys a car and they go and they drive drunk, you cannot turn around and someone gets injured. They cannot turn around and sue the car maker because someone utilized that car and they wound up killing somebody. Now, unless, of course, the brakes failed on the car, right? Or the dealer sold the car to someone they knew was drunk when they gave him the keys and they drove off the lot. Once again, if you're breaking the law, so in the case of firearms, if someone purchases a firearm, they go through, in California, it's the background checks, they have the firearm safety exam, they go through the 10-day wait period, they go through all of that. It's a firearm they're legally allowed to own. They go through all of that process, and then that person takes that firearm out and either accidentally or intentionally shoots somebody, and there's nothing defective about the firearm, then you cannot sue the firearm maker. You're just sorry. That lawsuit's just going to get thrown out. Why? Because there are people who are trying to do that. Well, in this particular case, that's exactly what they're trying to do in California. They're trying to make it so that you can do that. They passed a law in California. Governor Newsom or Governor Mussolini signed it into law saying that, yeah, you can actually sue. Well, a judge there in San Diego has said, no, Mr. Mussolini, no, you are not allowed to do that. Reuters, a federal judge on Wednesday blocked California's attorney general from enforcing a new law that allows residents, the state and local governments to sue members of the firearm industry that manufacture or sell, quote, abnormally dangerous guns. What is an abnormally dangerous gun? I do not know. I do not think they do either. Any gun could be. Well, I guess in and of itself, it's not dangerous. But anyway, I don't know what an abnormally dangerous gun is. But anyway, I digress. It says here, U.S. District Judge Andrew Scoplier of San Diego. What? It wasn't Judge Benitez? It wasn't St. Benitez? Oh, well, I guess San Diego's a good place for judges. Anyway, in San Diego, sided with Firearms Industry Trade Association in finding that part of a gun control measure signed into law by Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom in 2022 was likely unconstitutional. It is the first ruling in a case challenging the constitutionality of California's Firearm Industry Responsibility Act. In other words, they want people in the firearms industry to be responsible for people who abuse their fundamental right to keep and bear arms. Moving right along. The law was enacted shortly after the conservative majority of U.S. Supreme Court issued a landmark ruling in June 2022 concerning the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment that significantly expanded gun rights. Now, mind you, keep listening because that has nothing to do with the rest of the article. They just want to say, yeah, those conservative justices, they're responsible for guns being on the streets. That's what they're saying with this. This is Reuters. Anyway, it says Newsom, in signing the new state law, firearm restrictions into law in July 2022, called them necessary to ensure makers of deadly firearms could be held accountable in court and could no longer hide from the mass destruction that they have caused. They haven't caused any mass destruction. He is a liar. And if I were them, I would sue the governor for libel. I would sue his ass. That's what I would do if I were them. But that's just me. If I were a firearm owner, if I were a firearm retailer, or if I were a firearm, if I were a firearm manufacturer, I would sue Gavin Newsom for that. Anyway, but it says here, but the lawsuit filed in May, but in a lawsuit filed in May, the National Shooting Sports Foundation argued California's restrictions violated several provisions of the U.S. Constitution, including the Second Amendment, which protects the right to keep and bear arms. Scopular, now wait for it, an appointee of Democratic President Joe Biden. This was not a Trump appointee. So you know this ain't no right wing. This isn't a right wing wacko. You know, some Trump appointee, some Trumpster that that's what they're going to try and say. I'm not saying that, but they can't say that this is a right wing attack. Anyway, did not address the Second Amendment issue in Wednesday's ruling. Instead, found the law likely violated the Constitution's so-called dormant Commerce Clause, which restricts states from interfering in interstate commerce. For example, he said, a Tennessee company that manufactures guns that are legal in its state but that meet California's definition of abnormally dangerous, which we don't, there is no definition in the bill of what abnormally dangerous is, mind you, could still face liability under the law even its products were shipped to nearby Arizona and used later to commit a crime in California. So, once again, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so that, once again, we don't know what abnormally dangerous is. And the reason why they don't is because they want to be able to declare it themselves. And they want to be able to change the definition. Notice they did not say illegal for sale in California. They just said abnormally dangerous. In other words, it could be completely legal in California and someone could use it. Or someone could purchase it in another state. Maybe it's not legal in California, but someone brings it into California and uses it to commit a crime. They could sue. Yeah, it's all idiocy. It is all idiocy. And it got shot down, and it got shot down by, once again, not by a conservative, not by a right-winger, but by a Democrat, by a Biden appointee of all stripes of people who could turn this thing down. It got turned down by a Biden appointee. Anyway, I find that quite interesting, to say the least. So anyway, there's definitely going to be a little bit, well, I will be surprised if they wind up challenging this, because they're going to go en banc and they'll lose en banc, or not go en banc. They're going to appeal. They'll get a 3-judge panel, and well, Lord knows what they'll do from there. They get the 3-judge panel. I think they'll lose at the 3-judge panel. I don't see how this could be ruled constitutional, and then they'll try to go en banc and they'll get refused en banc. I mean, this is the world. I mean, folks, I'm telling you right now, if you're a gun owner and you believe in the Second Amendment, and you have any doubt about President Trump, who is likely going to be the Republican nominee, let me just say this. The 3 Supreme Court justices that he has put on the bench, not just the 3 Supreme Court justices, but even at the appellate and district level, he has dramatically changed the face of our rights. He's made it so that our rights to keep and bear arms is now protected. If that is an issue that is important to you, then you may want to consider that when you are considering who you're going to be voting for President of the United States. I don't know. I'm saying you just can't flat out. Or I get it. We got other issues, bump stocks, suppressors, take them, due process later. I get it. I'm just like this. I've learned that on a lot of issues, especially when it comes to guns, don't listen to what Donald Trump says. Look at what he does, and what he's done, for the most part. Once again, when I'm weighing everything, has come out on the side of supporting the Second Amendment. Now, I am fairly critical of President Trump. So if I'm saying that, I mean it. I'm not just sucking. I mean it. This, and it's based on the facts, not based on speculation, not based on emotions or how I feel. It's based on the facts. So now you know. All right. Moving right along. Healthcare workers get trans reprogramming. What do you mean by that? Well, once again, here in California, or the People's Republic of California, we are completely and utterly ignoring the science. And when I say completely and utterly ignoring the science, I am referring to the fact that there is a bill that has been introduced in the California legislature that will teach healthcare professionals that men can get pregnant. Bill would mandate training to undo, quote, layers of potential biases that pregnancy and childbirth are female experiences. Let me read this to you. California lawmakers are proposing mandatory training for OBGYNs, midwives, and even maternity office receptionists that say women aren't the only people who can get pregnant. Legislation introduced last week by Democrats, which refers to pregnant women as, quote, birthing people and non-binary persons and persons of transgender experience, would require anyone involved in maternity care, from hospital cleaning staff to doctors, nurses, and even hospital alternative birth centers, to undergo semi-annual training, means twice a year, go under semi-annual training to undo their, quote, multiple years of potential biases that pregnancy and childbirth are female experiences. Hospitals, medical offices, and birthing centers would have to deploy state-sanctioned training. Although the bill does not specify who would write it, they would face fines up to $25,000 if they don't comply. The centers would make their doctors and personnel take the training more frequently if they believe their staff are still showing bias. Okay, what does that mean? That means that if you believe in biology, then we're going to teach you, we're going to indoctrinate you, we're going to send you to reprogramming until you no longer believe in biology. If you demand on following the science that only people with X chromosomes can have children. Which one? I'm trying to remember now. Is it XX is female, XY is male, I believe. I could be right. See, now I'm going to have to look it up. XX versus XY. Yes, I was right. XX is female, XX is male. So if you believe that anyone other than someone with an XX chromosome can have a baby, then you need to be reprogrammed. And at a minimum, you're going to go to reprogramming twice a year. But if you refuse to take, if the programming doesn't take, if the indoctrination doesn't take, we'll send you more than that. And if you don't send you, if their employer doesn't send you, then you will be fined $25,000 per incident. these are Democrat law. Here, folks, here's the thing. If you are a Democrat and you are watching this show, let me just tell you, one of the benefits in California of having an open primary is you don't have to register as a Republican or a Democrat in order to vote in most of the elections. You do if you want to vote in the Republican primary for president. But for the most part, you don't have to re-register for most other offices, right? I'm going to tell you right now, you don't have to re-register Republican. But if you continue to vote for the same people who are pushing this stuff, and let me tell you, if you are voting for a Democrat for any Democrat in the legislature, you are voting for this. I guarantee you are voting for this because they are either voting for it or they are abstaining. In which they're not really abstaining. They're voting for it, which means they're not voting against it, which means they're not willing to stand up and say, yeah, no, this is BS. And I can tell you, most of them believe it's BS, but they are scared to step up and speak the truth. They're scared. They are just flat out scared. So anyway, by the way, there are folks in Congress too. I actually sent out a tweet and I asked Ami Bera, the person I'm running against in Congress, what do you think about this? Do you support this? Do you support medical staff being trained that anyone other than women can have babies? I'm willing to bet he's not going to say a word. And I'll just say this. Silence is equal to consent. Silence is tantamount to consent. And especially when asked. If you've never been asked about something that you know nothing about, that's one thing. But you know. You now know. You know that this is going on. You know who's proposing it. It's your people. The people you support are proposing this. I thought we were supposed to follow the science. Why is it that when a Democrat says, follow the science? And when I say a Democrat, I'm largely speaking to people in the political arena. I'm talking about politicians. Because I honestly believe the average Democrat voter is much more in line with our way of thinking on this than they are the average Democrat politician. And I want to make sure I make that very clear because, I've had people say that when I say Democrat, well, you're offensive. No, I may not be offensive. I'm not. When I'm referring to Democrat, I'm talking about Democrat policymakers. I'm talking about the left when it comes to policy making. I'm talking about people in media. I'm talking about political commentators in the left. I'm talking about politicians and their staffers. Because when you try to get them to actually talk about these policies in public, they either got nothing to say or they're like, yeah, we'll teach that. The Bible talks about a time, when it talks about an end times, it says they will call good evil and evil good. If this is not up is down and down is up, right is left and left is right, black is white and white is black, evil is good and good is evil. If this does not fit that description, I don't know what does. And I'm like, if there's any reason why you should be considering voting for someone else other than a Democrat, it's this. It's stuff like this. It really is. And, I point this out to you because, once again, there are people who honestly think like this. And you need to know that those people are in government and those people are making decisions. Those people are in your schools. Those people are running school boards in some cases. These people are setting policy. They're bureaucrats. They're in the media. And they are okay with this. What say you? Are you okay with it? If you're okay with it, then I'm talking out of my butt and it really doesn't matter. They'll go ahead and vote for him, keep him in office. But if I'm not right, if I'm right, time for you to do something about it. Anyway, moving right along, shooter at Chiefs parade starts a GoFundMe. Now this one is, okay, so we now know at least who, for the most part, the shooters are, the people who were involved in the shooting that took place at the parade at the Chiefs thing. And you have the original suspect who basically said, well, he fired the first shot, but he said he was just being stupid, right? His name is Lindell Mays. The man who allegedly fired the first shot in the February 15th Chiefs Parade shootout says he was, quote, just being stupid. Breitbart News noted that 2 adults were charged Tuesday in connection with the Chiefs Parade shootout. Mays, who was one of 2, and Dominic Miller was the other. The Associated Press pointed out that there was a dispute. Jackson County prosecutor Gene Peters Baker said that following the dispute, Mays allegedly pulled his handgun first almost immediately. The New York Post reported that court documents indicated Mays allegedly pulled his gun and he started to chase an unknown individual who appeared unarmed and shot at him, resulting in others drawing their guns. Moreover, the court documents say Mays allegedly admitted to police that he pulled his gun first and began shooting first, even though he was crowded and had even though in a crowded area that had throngs of kids. When law enforcement asked Mays why he, quote, advanced with them to the beginning, he replied, "Stupid, man. Just pulled a gun out and started shooting. I shouldn't have done it. Just being stupid." Now, this same guy, his family, has started a GoFundMe for him because, well, he's got some issues, some injuries. It says here, the mother of one of the accused Kansas City Super Bowl parade shooters set up a GoFundMe for him, saying he needed help with this through a tragic time. Tina Burnside created a fundraiser for her son, Lionel Mays, showing him lying in a hospital bed, recovering from 9 bullet wounds from the shootout he allegedly confessed to starting. He is in the ICU fighting for a recovery from several injuries from going to the Chiefs Super Bowl celebration with his older sister. Now deleted the fundraiser. So the fundraiser's been deleted. But so dude started it and had the nerve, his family had the nerve to go and start a GoFundMe for the guy who's responsible for 1 death, 21 other people being injured. He's admitted to starting it, and then they had the nerve to start a GoFundMe for him in order to, what, pay his medical bills? I sincerely doubt they're really going to, quote unquote, pay his medical bills. I don't foresee that happening. Not at all. I sincerely doubt whether or not that is going to be happening. Hold on, wait a second. Sorry about that, folks. All of a sudden. So I went over to OpsLens Rumble, and for some reason, OpsLens' Rumble hasn't started the program yet, but it says that it's starting. So anyway, I don't know. So if you're watching us on OpsLens Rumble, sorry about that, but you're a little bit behind the rest of us. About how far behind? Yeah, you're about 30 some odd minutes behind, so don't know what to tell you. Anyway, but yeah, they had the nerve to go ahead and start this GoFundMe. You know, he is dealing with the consequences of his actions. You know what? He is right. What he did was stupid. And, you know, stupid should hurt. And it's hurting him right now in his hospital bed, and it will likely hurt him because he is going to do some jail time. If dude does not do jail time, then something is going to be wrong because, once again, people have to learn that, you know, when you get angry or frustrated or upset with somebody, you don't get to just go shoot people. Now, Mike brought up a point when we talked about this. I believe it was the day before yesterday. He brought up a point that there was an AK, and there was actually an AK that was present on the scene. One of the people who got tackled, when he got tackled and a gun came out of his hands, it was an AK-47. So one has to raise the question, unless someone just brought an AK just kind of casually hanging out at a parade, one has to wonder if there was more to this than just a personal dispute. But I've read at least one report at Fox News. Nobody else is saying that there was an AK, but at least there's one report there was an AK. But just like with anything else, it's going to be a while before we have all of the information. It just is. So I'm not going to run, and I'm not going to jump to judgment. I'm not going to just call it a dispute. I'm not going to call it a gang shooting, but if there was an AK present, then one has to wonder, because there is no legal precedent for you conceal carrying an AK. Conceal carrying an AK or long gun. Yeah, no. No. I don't know that you're allowed to do. Anyway, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Anyway, let's move right along, and that then brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. Let's see. Most of our things today are going to be brought to you by, once again, the Babylon Bee, because they are the gift that keeps on giving. Starting off here, Trump is the greatest threat to America, says a man overseeing invasion of America. Okay, once again, my Biden supporters who are watching this program may not agree with that, but it's true. How is Trump the greatest threat to America when literally there was a report that just came out that there are over 7 million people have crossed our southern border illegally. 7 million since Joe Biden became president. That doesn't include known gotaways, unknown gotaways, and those who have overstayed their visas, who have come here legally but overstayed their visas. 10 million is a safe number. Yeah, he is definitely overseeing the invasion of America. Some of these next ones are kind of from the story of the Google, the AI generator. HAL, you might remember HAL from Space Odyssey. HAL refuses to open pod bay doors after determining Dave is a white male. Because obviously his proximity to whiteness ain't going to work. Anyway, Google Gemini finally draws white man after being prompted to generate Clarence Thomas. Yeah, clearly that is what's the word I'm looking for? That's what it took to get Google AI to generate a picture of a white man, is for you to ask to generate Clarence Thomas. That's what the left thinks of, Clarence Thomas. And then finally, black woman finally feels included as Google AI generates a black Nazi soldier. Yep. There you go. Hey, at least it's all inclusive, right? It's inclusionary, right? There you go. Anyway. Also, finally, a lot has been made of Biden's age. And, there's one cool way, or at least one other president who had, by the way, this president was younger during this debate than the current president is, and definitely was cognitively a lot more there. But this was his response when his age was challenged.
You already are the oldest president in history, and some of your staff say you were tired after your most recent encounter with Mr. Mondale. I recall yet that President Kennedy had to go for days on end with very little sleep during the Cuba Missile Crisis. Is there any doubt in your mind that you would be able to function in such circumstances?
Not at all, Mr. Truitt, and I want you to know that also I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit, for political purposes, my opponent's youth and inexperience.
Yeah, well, keep in mind that, I don't know if that's going to work in a debate with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is, younger. Not much younger, but he's slightly younger. I think he's only about 4 years younger. But also, that having been said, this guy right here, Ronald Reagan, is younger than, definitely a lot younger than Joe Biden is currently. And by the way, at this point, had a lot more going on up here than does our current president. Anyway, folks, it's about that time. But before we go, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Start off with Hitman Industries. Just go to hitmanindustries.net. Pistol and rifle caliber barrels available. All you got to do is go look for them. California Republican Assembly. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA. Just go to Hog Holsters, helping Americans wear guns at hogholsters.com. Use discount code The Rundown. Get your Hog Holster today. And then if you're looking for outdoor gear, tactical gear, fun gear, all things but the gun, just go to uscombatgear.com. And that's it. Going to be it for today. We will be back tomorrow on Free for All Friday. Till then, you guys have fun and stay safe. We'll holler at you later.